Blue Beetle movie is currently out in cinema. I have not been to see it yet. Hopefully, I'm going to get some time to go and do that this week coming year, and then I will do my review for it. But the director has not made a good time of promoting this movie. As you all remember, I've done videos talking about the first time around when they put in that whole Batman as a fascist line. He was out there actively mocking fans and acting like, he was doing this thing and he didn't care what you thought about it and all of that. And he was feeling like he was on top of the world. When reports came out that the movie was going to be a box office bomb, he then came back trying to beg fans to watch the movie. Yeah, because at that point he realized, being a horse's rear end just wasn't going to work for him. That didn't stop him also. He came out and said some other things talking about how, the movie is so representative and this, and if people don't watch it, they don't want to support Latin America. All kind of drama with him. Well, it doesn't stop. And he seems to have no intention of keeping his mouth shut. Maybe WB needs to put a gag order on him or something, because this guy just cannot seem to help himself. His latest talking point that has gotten him in hot water for not keeping his trap shut has to do with the character of Bane. Apparently, he pitched a Bane movie idea to WB before they turned him over to do, Blue Beetle. And what he had to say about it has made one of the creators of Bane come out and tell him, well, that what you're basically saying is total horseshit. Let's get into this article here from Bounding Into Comics. Bane creator Graham Nolan reacts to Blue Beetle director, claiming the character represents American interventionism in Latin America. I don't see what that has to do with that damn thing, but okay. Bane creator Graham Nolan recently shared his thoughts in regards to Blue Beetle director Angel Manuel Soto, claiming that the DC villain represents American interventionism in Latin America. Now, Graham Nolan, along with Chuck Dixon, created the character of Bane. So they would know more than anybody the thought process, the creativity, everything around Bane. I have said before, and I have to say again, creators who create something know what they're doing. This is what they create. This is how they created this character to be. But when you have people who want to change it for their own disturbed thought process, these are the things that you get. Let's get into this. In a recent interview with The Playlist, Soto shared his thoughts on Bane while promoting the upcoming Blue Beetle film. God forbid he just promote the Blue Beetle movie and keep his mouth shut, but no. And detailing that DC pitched him on Blue Beetle after he came to them with a Bane movie. Now, Bane is a character that they have not really done very well in live-action movies at all. In Batman and Robin, one of the worst Batman movies ever, and one that I consider not even be a Batman movie. What they did with Bane in there was just terrible. Yes, a lot of people will say, okay, the whole Christopher Nolan Batman trilogy, the third movie did end with, the third movie was the end for it, and it did feature Bane, but it wasn't actually the Bane from the comics. And a lot of people were kind of upset about that, myself included. I thought they could have done the character the way he should have been in the comics. Understand? But Bane has never really been done well in live action. And the fact that he wanted to come in and do this, and when you listen to his thoughts about it, well, that is telling you something. Soto shared, as far as Bane goes, the comics that are about Bane's story, it feels like he's very misunderstood, much like Carapax in the movie. Oh, God. You can't ever be a villain anymore. You're going to be misunderstood. He is a product of his environment, and that history has been buried. The history of the Caribbean, the Antilles, it's a history that's brushed off in history books. What? Aye. Yeah, boy. He continues on. So for me, it was very important to be seen. And with the character of Bane, the formation of this villain, I think in his own right, he's also a hero in his story. What story did you read? So whatever happens at the end that might have gotten distorted because of what was done to him, I think that what he represents is a lot of the unknown or forgotten or brushed under the rug history of interventionism in Latin America and the Caribbean. Seriously, I don't know what this man drinking, but he really needs to stop. Really. Later, Soto went on to reveal he took his view of Bane's backstory and applied it to Carapax. And anybody wondering, Carapax is the villain in the Blue Beetle movie. Well, one of them in the Blue Beetle movie. He then explained why he believes having this part of a villain backstory is so important. Because we need it. When we're introduced to the world in movies, right, where we are seen as villains, it's just given that we are born that way. So you seeing yourself as a villain? Wow, okay. And when we talk about the history of Latin America, nobody dares to question, well, what happened before? Okay, well, what happened before? More times than none, when you go back, and you go back even before 1954, but if we want to go to 1954 in Guatemala, it was U.S. interventionism that drove these places to the miseries that they're in. He said, this man seems to have all these talking points about how much he doesn't like what America has done here and what America is doing here, what America is doing there. Yet you live in the United States. I believe in Los Angeles and Hollywood, wherever the hell he lives. You understand me? You have the right to say these things. You're not suffering. You're not catching your nene to wonder what you're going to do. No. You have rights. You have freedom. You have money. And because you have all these things, you think the best use of your time is to sit around and badmouth the United States and badmouth everything and everybody and everything that has been done and talk about how, history needs to be told about just how awful the United States is and all of this. Why can't you just shut the hell up and leave things as they are? Boy. Continued. So I'm not embarrassed to talk about it. You probably should be. History is there. Nobody's trying to blame something. Nobody's trying to say it's just like us. It's just like here. So this is our story. And you know what? We can heal together. At the end of the day, we all heal together if we recognize the stuff that has happened in the past and lift each other up in a way that I feel the Reyes family lifts each other up. It's like, welcome to our stories and the way that we're welcome to other stories. Welcome to our stories and let's have a dialogue. It's beautifully concluded. Yeah, but you're talking about things that make no sense. So you want a dialogue. Nolan shared his brief thoughts to Soto's comments on Twitter. First, Nolan reacted to comic book writer and editor Aaron Sparrow comments. Right. So this is what Aaron Sparrow had to say in regards to Soto's craziness in regards to Bane. He said, if it's all the same to Soto, I think I'll trust the creators of the character, Chuck Dixon and Nolan, to tell me what Bane represents. Exactly. It makes sense. Now, in regards to this whole thing and what Soto has been saying, Graham Nolan gave a very simple answer. Well, that's a lot of horse shit. And he's quite right. He is quite right. That is a lot of horse shit. That man rambled on about, a history and the Caribbean and the this and how the US does look at it, and didn't say actually one damn thing about the character. You're just using the character of Bane as another excuse to push your political views that nobody asked you about. That's all you're doing. Nolan then provided more details when asked for his thoughts by Twitter user HDT885. Right, so the person asked him what his thoughts are. Graham Nolan said, too much personal projection, Exactly. He's correct in that Bane is a product of his environment, but the socio-political extrapolations he's making were never considered during Bane's creation. Now, let me take a moment there and you know, go from that point. Now, he says it very clearly, he says it very clearly, and I agree with everything he says here. Too much personal projection. You see, when you have these people who want to crawl into the skin of everything and act like it, and act like, it represents them in some way, they make themselves not just look uninformed, but downright stupid. Absolutely downright stupid. And this is what he's doing. He goes, now Graham Nolan then goes on to say, he's correct in that Bane is a product of his environment. Yes, Bane was born in prison, right? His father tried to lead a rebellion or something in Santa Prisca. And Santa Prisca is a corrupt place. It's not real, it's a fictional place. Okay, it's a corrupt nation. His father tried to lead a rebellion. And in trying to lead a rebellion, his father was stuck, caught, and executed. And Bane's mother was put in prison while she was pregnant, and she gave birth to Bane in prison. So Bane is literally the embodiment of the sins of the father will be visited onto the son. He was born in prison. That's what he knows, what he grew up with. Okay. Understand? So he is a product of his environment in regards to that. Now, what happened after that? He grew into that world, into that hostility, everything. If you just read, we'll continue on. That system, but the socio-political extrapolations he's making were never considered during Bane's creation. Exactly. Bane has a backstory. Bane is a criminal. Bane is evil. Bane is doing what he's doing. That's it. Anybody who reads Nightfall could never come away thinking that, Bane is just some misunderstood bad guy. The man literally came to Gotham wanting to kill Batman because he wanted to prove he was the best to do that. He released criminals, murderers, thieves, everything from Arkham and the jails and sent them out there to terrorize the city to wear down Batman. Then he brutally beat Batman, broke his back, and threw him down to show that, he is now ruler of Gotham. Bane has done a lot of horrible things over the years. Yes, at times, he's done certain things for certain causes. Sometimes people might say a kind of anti-hero, or should I say, something like that, kind of in regards to that. But he's a bad guy. That's who Bane is. He chooses to be this way. He was born into this darkness, and he intends to be a part of it and to rule it. That's what Bane is. Bane is not some mouthpiece for you to talk about your socio-political extrapolations and all that thing. It makes no sense when you come out and say, Bane is not really a bad guy. It proves to me you don't know the character. You haven't read anything about the character. You just want to literally inject your crap yet again into another character. Why? Because that's all you do. You wouldn't shut up about the Blue Beetle movie. You understand me? And yet here you are doing this. But they keep hiring these people. You understand me? These activists who can't keep their trap shut about things that they know nothing about. You live in the United States. You have freedom. You have respect. You have money. You have a stable life. Everything. Yet you constantly want to badmouth the very country that you're in. If someone decides to just pick you up and drop you in some third world hellhole, you'll be the first one to bawl and scream about oh, God help me and God help me and get me out of here. Oh Lord, man, come on, you're making a fool of yourself. They want to talk about how Nolan has his own comic book company, Compass Comics, and he's currently working on some horror titles, the Chinu and the Alien Alamo, and the Ghost of Matakumeki. I haven't read any of them, but I have heard that they are really good. They're actually really interesting and really well done. What other titles he has and stuff actually really going on and stuff. And then you have Chuck Dixon is doing some work with with the Ripperverse right now. He's working on Alpha Core, and yes, and he has another book coming out. So they're doing a lot of really good work and putting out a lot of interesting stuff. But meanwhile, you have the director of the Blue Beetle movie once again making a complete fool of himself about things he knows nothing about. This is his behavior non-stop. Bane is not yet another sounding point for you to push your political aspirations. Just don't talk about things you don't know about and stop trying to turn a character into something he's not. Graham Nolan and Chuck Dixon created the character. They know who Bane is, how Bane is supposed to be, what Bane represents, what Bane is doing. You don't. You clearly don't. And you're just making yourself look silly when you do these things. You know your thoughts on this in the comments. I have a different opinion. I'd love to hear it. If you like the video, try to hit that thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. Ring the notification bell. Notified every time I put out a new video. And I shall see you all next time. Take care.